couple is Catherine and Scott. It doesn't seem like there's much physical attraction there.
The longest amount of time out of anyone, but I don't think anyone's coming for either of you right now. I just think you're just holding on till something comes in.
Conversations at the brunch makes you realize who is actually looking to pursue a proper relationship and who's just there for the game. Because if you listen to the conversation between Molly and Zachariah, that doesn't make any sense. At least Catherine and Scott are asking in-depth questions. At least Ty and Ella are doing their own thing, which is Ty and Ella. Jess and Sammy, oh my God, they're always going to be fighting. And I love the fact that Whitney and Maddie are actually asking thought-provoking questions. They're asking about life outside the villa and trying to see if they can work. Because I think there are people who are very logical in everything that they do, irrespective of the fact that at times they can be a bit silly. And I think this is why they're trying to think, if I pursue this, is this something that can work once I leave the villa? But anyway, we'll see. Hey there, it's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and a comment. I know I'm biased. I love me a bit of Maddie and Whitney. I've always said this. Initially, I was like, I don't care whether they're romantic or not. I just want them to be shading everyone and reading everyone in the villa. And so how things have turned. I hope the producers don't come in and sort of mess things up for them. I think they have the potential of being the strongest couple in the villa. I did see a picture of Maddie on Instagram, on Twitter that someone posted, and went to his Instagram account, and he's got some very nice pictures. So anyway, I digress. So Whitney comes down and she tells the girls, I've been a bad girl, because she was telling them I won't do anything that I don't want to do. And I think as soon as she said that, they knew that she had kissed Maddie. And the excitement, Catherine, Ella, and Jess, they were so excited for her. So they're asking her, how was the kiss? Was it a good kiss? And she was, it was better than the challenge. So is he a good kisser? And she was, he's French. What do you expect? And it's like Whitney, and her excitement. Whitney has fallen, or is falling, for Maddie, because the way she behaves like a little sort of high school girl, like puppy love, like she's got a crush on someone, like it's so cute and so endearing that, oh my God, I can't help but like it. The guys were excited for her. Scott was calling her, wait there, because they knew exactly the moment she said, I've been a bad girl. I think everyone, because of the acoustics of the villa, I think they heard her. And oh, Maddie himself was excited. I love this for them. I love the fact that they're not sort of going according to anyone else's perception of their relationship. They're only focusing on the two of them and doing them, which I thought was cute. And then Jess was telling the girls that, I was talking to Mitch, and I've realized that I really want to get to know Mitch more. There is potential that it could be something romantic. I feel bad because I initially told Sammy that, we're just friends, and now I feel like I want to explore to see if there's anything deeper there. And the girls were saying, no, you are valid in wanting to do that. After all, you have to do what's in your best interest, not what's in Sammy's best interest, given the comments that he made during the challenge, which made sense. So she then pulls Sammy for a chat. What a train wreck. What a train wreck. There was a part 1 and a part 2 to that conversation. The first part, she sort of let Sammy know that she's open to the idea of exploring things with Mitch to see if there could be anything romantic. And Sammy lost his nut. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says, but Sammy's age is showing. His immaturity is showing. The way he's handling his situation with Jess is showing how very immature he is and how he's not ready for a relationship, and he'll never be ready for a relationship until he does the work on himself. So they're having a conversation, and Jess is sort of highlighting that, I've actually enjoyed my chats with Mitch, and I think I'm open to getting to know him. I want you to know that this is where I am and this is where I stand. And he starts getting upset. Well, if you want to, how come it's taking you this long? Why are you? And it's like, buddy, you've just been chasing after Leah. Leah's just been upset with you because you've been flirting with Leah and telling her that you're open to getting to know her, and there is a possibility you might recouple with her. Then after you realize you're vulnerable, you've decided you want to be with Jess, and Jess is your ed. In a challenge, you say that you're still open to getting to know someone. When Jess tells you exactly the same thing, you start getting upset and trying to blame it. I remember in my review yesterday, I did mention that that Sammy is going to try and play victim, and is trying to make it seem like Jess is the problem in the relationship when he is actually the problem. And this is what he's doing now, because he then sat with all the guys and was telling them, oh, you make me feel bad about saying in the challenge that I'm open to getting to know someone, and yet she's doing exactly the same thing she made me feel bad for. And the guys are sort of just winding him up instead of being honest with him. I don't know why the guys didn't just tell him that you've just had an issue with Leah because you're flirting with Leah, and Jess was sitting there and waiting for you. So you have no leg to stand on to start moaning that why is she saying this? And then just in the end, you know, called him again for round 2, and they went off on round 2 because Jess was saying, I don't understand why you're getting upset, because I told you I want to get to know Mitch. I'm not saying I'm coupling up with Mitch. I'm just saying I'm open to the idea of getting to know Mitch, since you said you're open to the idea of getting to know any new bombshells that come in. So, you know, it is what it is. And he kicks off again, and it's just like, oh my God, why? And for him in his confessional to say, I wasn't just wasn't my type. I was her type, but she wasn't my type. And it's like, seriously, it's more or less saying that you settled with Jess. So you settled with Jess, but Jess was punching above her weight. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Just because the guys and everyone was excited when you came into the villa, and they were saying that they want Jess to find someone, and you might be her person because you both have things in common. You suddenly think you're better than her. She saved you twice. She fought for you when you were up there with Andre and Zach, and she's coupled up with you again before that. So for the audacity for you to stand there and say, oh, she's not my type, and then saying to the guys, well, if it was someone I was hopelessly in love with, then I would be more upset. I'm not really upset. I'm not bothered. And it's like, this shows how immature you are. Instead of you looking around to see what is the problem in my coupling, what do I need to do to be better, or to change this, the road we're going down, and improve our relationship. No, you decide to blame Jesse because now you're worried that you're now at risk, you're vulnerable. I hope Jess recouples with Mitch and stays with Mitch until the finale, because I think Sammy has outstayed his welcome, and I don't think she deserves this. I think she saw the red flag when she was questioning that if he is going to speak to Leah like that, how will he speak to me or the next bombshell? And he's shown himself to be very immature and very disrespectful, and she needs to leave him alone and move on. And then for him to call Mitch, oh, you're a hero, because Mitch said to him, okay, let me go and speak to Jess and find out why because they were shouting so loud, everyone across the villa was looking at them and wondering what the hell is going on over there. And I don't like him at all. I don't. So everybody gets ready to go upstairs to change and go to bed. So everybody goes to bed, and Sammy is still very upset because he feels that he's been disrespected by Jess, by her deciding to want to explore things with Mitch, which doesn't make sense to me, but hey, it is what it is. In the morning, Mitch is asking, Maddie and Whitney, did you kiss again? And it's like, none of your business. I like the fact that Maddie was very respectful of Whitney, and he didn't say anything. All he said was, you should have been in bed with us if you wanted to know what was happening in our bed. And I was like, oh my God, I live for Maddie and Whitney. I live, because Whitney immediately said, that's a great comment. And it's like, they feed off each other. I like their vibe as a couple. So during the debriefing, everyone wanted to know about Maddie and Whitney, and he was the first to be debriefed. And he was saying, he felt it was time for them to share a kiss, and they did, and the kiss was amazing. So, they're going to continue to go at their own pace. And Ty had to put in his 2 coins to say, yes, it's about time that the two of you made out. It's about time that the two of you kissed. And it's like, oh my God, I don't know. Zach and Molly, obviously Molly is still excited. She's on cloud 9 that she and Zach are in a peaceful place. I think Zach is better for her. I don't mean that they have great chemistry, but I think she's better for her. He's not as creepy and scary as Mitchell. So I think after Mitchell, she will settle for Zach and ride that until the end. She did say they made out in bed, so the girls were excited for her. I like the fact that these girls have a close relationship, that Catherine was excited for Molly saying that she kissed Zachariah, even though things didn't work out with her and Zach. Leah was sort of talking about the fact that, she's getting to know Scott, and she's also getting to know Mitch, but she thinks she has a more romantic connection with Scott, which is to be expected because of the way he was giggly and smiley when he was talking to Leah. So Catherine, I think, is vulnerable. I think she's in trouble. I think she needs to get to know the bombshell ASAP. Everybody else seems fine. And then Molly receives a message to say it's time for brunch. So the islanders go in the garden for their brunch, and oh my god, the conversations in the garden just show you who is actually building a strong connection, or who is interested in building a strong connection, and who's just doing it just to be on the show. Because you have Ty and Ella sort of having a conversation about their relationship. You know, the fact that Ty said he was closed off and he wasn't open to getting to know someone, and they're sort of debating that, and Ty is saying it was in the moment. I don't know how I feel now, but that was just then. Ty is trying to protect his heart. He's worried that Ella might leave him. And so, in order to do that, he wants to keep her on her toes. That's my opinion. That's why he won't fully commit to her. But I don't see his head being turned by anyone. If he does move on to someone, I think he will move on to them, but come back to Ella. I think if he stays till the finale, he's always going to have Ella standing beside him. I think Ella being in the bottom two with Richie really scared him. So the idea of Ella being at risk is not something that he would want. You have Sammy and Jesse still arguing about the same old thing, about the fact that why did Jess say she wants to get to know Mitch and is just playing games, and Sammy's not here for it. In the end, Jess said to him, I think that's enough. We need to move on. I can't keep going around this merry-go-round. This is too much for me. And then you have Catherine and Scott having a conversation, asking, Catherine sort of offering up that if they were to meet out in the real world, she would stop and speak to Scott because he's someone she would want to get to know. And he says exactly the same thing. So, but I am not getting that from Scott. I think Scott is just saying that just so to keep Catherine still interested and to continue to be vague, because his conversations with Leah seems to indicate that he seemed more interested in Leah than he was in Catherine, because he seemed more attracted and he seemed more smiley and giggly with her and seemed to sit closer to her. I don't know. Maybe it was just then. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's still confused, but I don't think he's conflicted. I think if he had to recouple, he would recouple with Leah, as he said. And then Mitch and Leah are having a conversation with Mitch saying he's really interested in getting to know Jess, but he's worried about the situation that Jess is in at the moment and how he will fit into that situation. He doesn't want to appear to be taking advantage of the messy situation or appear as though he's making things worse, which I get and I understand. And then you have Zachariah and Molly. I don't even know what they're talking about. Oh, you're very beautiful. Oh, I'm happy that things are easygoing and they're comfortable with you. It's like the same old conversation. Whitney and Maddie, for me, are the ones that were having a more in-depth discussion. They seem more interested in one another. They seem like they want to get to really know who their partner is, what makes them tick, and see if there's anything there that they can build on. Because they were talking about Maddie and where he lives, and Maddie was saying, he is planning on moving to London. And so Whitney was asking him, where would you want to live in London? And he said, close to Mayfair. And it just reminded me of the Frenchman in Mayfair. And Whitney was like, oh my God, you really are it. You're very bougie. And they were laughing. And it was so hysterical. The fact that they want to know, I think they're looking at life outside of the villa and if their lives would ever mesh, if they were to commit to one another. I think they're taking this very seriously. And so when Maddie said to her, would you ever move to France? And she went, no, she didn't even think about it. And I'm like, Whitney, at least pretend to think about it. At least think, oh, maybe I would visit, or maybe I would live there for a couple of months. It was just like, oh my God. So for me, this shows that they are really interested in one another. Other people are just playing the game, or other people are just sort of winding up time until they meet the person that they like, and then they will open to that person. I'm talking about you, Scott, and I'm talking about you, Sammy, and I'm talking about you, Zachariah and Molly. Mitch receives a text message to say the islanders should gather around the fire pit. Everybody gathers around the fire pit in their couples, and Maya Jama arrives and tells them that, they need to nominate their two couples that they feel they're least compatible. And everybody except for Mitch and Leah voted for Mitch and Leah, which made sense because they're in a friendship couple. And they did tell them that you're in a friendship couple. This is why we voted for you, because you have actually mentioned it. And Mitch was still in his feelings and it's like, why? Make it make sense. You've gone around telling everyone that you're not compatible. So why would people not vote for you? Just because you've been in the field the longest doesn't mean people are going to vote for you and jeopardize other people, knowing for a fact that you are not in a romantic relationship. Sammy and Jesse got votes from everyone apart from themselves and Tarek and Ella, which made sense because of the commotion that's been them. And people told them that communication is their biggest issue, which does make sense because they've been fighting a lot. And the reason they're fighting is because Sammy cannot take responsibility of his actions or of the words that come out of his mouth. He lacks the ability to take accountability and say, I am sorry. That is something that he needs to work on, and he's going to struggle to find anyone to commit to a relationship with him as long as he continues to do that. And so I was surprised when well, was I really surprised? I was about to say I was surprised. Was I really surprised that they voted for Scott and Catherine? Nah. And also, was I Ty and Ella are the ones that shocked me that they voted for Scott and Catherine. But still, if I'm going to be logical, it does make sense because Scott has been trying to pursue Leah, so it makes sense that everyone should think that he's not compatible with Catherine. But then what I didn't like was the comments that were made. That's what I didn't like. The fact that it was implied that he's not sexually attracted to Catherine. That's not it. You could say that they're not compatible in the sense that maybe they don't like the same things, maybe they don't. But you can't talk about sexual attraction unless Scott himself has said, I'm not sexually attracted to Catherine, which I haven't heard him say. So I don't know why that comment was made by Sammy. I think he was just punching below the belt because everyone was nominating them. And I also don't get why Mitch felt the need to say that. Maddie and Whitney in the real world. Okay, in the real world, they might not have met, but for him to look at the real world situation when they're talking about couples that are compatible in the villa, decisions are being made about life in the villa, not life outside the villa. Oh, I don't think they would work, and I think they're just together just because they have no other choice. You are with Leah because you have no other choice. Make it make sense. You can't criticize someone for the same thing that you're doing. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, they then Mitch, Leah, Sammy, and Jess are informed that they are now vulnerable. They're not allowed to. They are not allowed to recouple, and there are two islanders waiting to date them. And it's like, oh, that's great. And you could see the excitement on their faces. I hope, if nothing else, I don't think Jess should go back to Sammy. I think Sammy is too immature. He's too disrespectful. If all else fails, I hope Jess couples up with Mitch. That's the impression that I'm getting, and I think this is what the producers are after. And then for Sammy to stand there with smoke coming out of his ears and fuming doesn't make sense to me because he was asked, you don't seem happy, what's wrong? And he went, well, I feel that some couples weren't honest. And he was asked, who do you think was not honest? He goes, Maddie and Whitney and Sammy and Scott and Catherine. And it's like, why? Why would you say that? And I have to give it to, I think Whitney and Maddie were very sort of composed and very classy with their response. Scott took the gloves off and gave him a 1-2, and you could tell that Sammy wanted to cry and he felt bad because I think he thought they were going to apologize, and when they didn't apologize and came at him, you could see the look on his face that he was so embarrassed because Scott said, picking us would have just been, a cop out. At the end of the day, you are one of the most vulnerable couples. So you deserve to be there because your communication skills are bad. And I went, oh my God. Not Scott coming in with the 1-2. I love that. I have a feeling that Mitch is going to recouple with Jess. And I somehow have a feeling that Catherine might be the one who will be going home. And if she's going home, I think she will be going home probably with Sammy. That's the impression that I'm getting. Just because I don't think the bombshells will like Jess, neither will they like Mitch. I don't think so. I think either Leah will recouple with Scott, Catherine will be vulnerable, and then chances are Sammy will be vulnerable because of the fact that they can't bring in a bombshell and then make the bombshell vulnerable immediately. So I have a feeling that if they're going to have an elimination, Scott and Catherine are going to be the ones leaving the villa. That's just the impression. I don't know. I might be wrong. But anyway, I digress. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.